Damage my TV in transit and deny the claim? No more shipments for you. Not sure if this is pro quality, but some have asked me to post this here since they think it is. 10 years ago, I moved for my job. I had forgot about one of my TVs back homes and asked my dad to ship it to me, on my company's account since they paid for my move. A couple days later the delivery driver from shipping company drops it off. The box was heavily damaged, so I didn't sign for it. He waited while I plugged it in and, to no one's surprise, was damaged. He said that he could take it back if I didn't want to sign for it and the shipper could file the claim. I informed him I was the shipper and would file it here. This was a small mistake, but I've shipped thousands of parts through this company, so I figured it wouldn't be a problem. Claim denied a month later. This goes back and forth for a couple months with multiple emails to this old lady, and she didn't care at all. She was also very rude to me via email and phone. Now this shipping company A has two separate entities. Parcel and freight. We solely used this freight company for all of our warehouses across the US. I cut them off at my new store and started using Company B. It only took a month before the salesman from shipping company A stopped by. When he showed up and asked why he was losing $20,000 worth of freight a month, I informed him of the $600 broken TV from his sister company a couple months back. He said that he couldn't do anything about it since it was a separate side of their company and begged for the business back. No dice. This goes back and forth for several months. Our average was about $20, $25K a month they would bill us for, and it was a small town, so they were very upset that it was only over a $600 TV. I got a check in the mail about a year after I shipped the TV along with a letter from their vice president. So, I guess this is the pro part. Fast forward a couple years and I've been promoted within the company to make certain decisions, and one happens to be logistics. None of our locations use shipping company A. Some months we spend well over $100,000, but most are around $80,000 company-wide, and this has been going on for several years now. We also inform customers to use shipping company B since shipping company B is awesome and treat us very well. Since about 2011 we have used them countrywide. No telling how much shipping company A lost over a $600 TV. TLDR. Shipping company broke $600 TV, didn't want to pay me, changed companies, they lost millions. Now to the comments. I'm in management of a smallish logistics company. Unless our driver had video of the end recipient actually taking a hammer to the TV, we would have paid this claim without even thinking about it. It's $600. Certainly not worth the time to fight the claim or piss off the customer. Yeah, dude. I think this counts as pro. It is literally and spiritually a professional act of revenge. The real mistake they made was when the guy stopped by and the only excuse he had was that he couldn't do anything about it since it was a separate side of their company. When you are going to send someone to figure out what's wrong, give them some power to fix the situation either immediately or in a reasonable amount of time for the value concerned. The salesman was a lazy asshole too. You never say I can't do anything about that. It's I'm so sorry to hear that, let me escalate that with corporate and I'll get right back to you. Shoot, he would have been better off paying the $600 himself. Think about all that lost commission. Yeah. How about what can we do to get your business back? There still has to come a point where you have, or perhaps simply want, to say your company should have done that the first time I called. But your company didn't, and I can't risk that happening again. I would also have mentioned, not that you didn't but there's no note of it, how rude the customer support lady was to you. Rude customer support automatically tickles my vengeance. Rule of thumb in marketing, and all smart people in marketing know and understand, a happy customer will tell 3 to 5 people about their good experience. An unhappy customer will tell 10 to 20 people about their bad experience. This is related to, it's 10x easier to keep a current customer than to get a new customer. Both are about trust. Trust is slow and expensive to earn but quick and cheap to lose. The shocking thing is how many businesses don't get this. Part seems to be human nature. We are all lazy and many are willfully lazy. In MBA school, when we got to game theory, most people stopped listening when we got to prisoner's dilemma, PD, which often has a best strategy of screw the other guy. However, if most of my classmates had listened a bit longer, they'd discover that PD does not apply to 99% of all real-life business situations because PD is a single-play game but real life is iterated. You will have to deal with the same person over and over again, sooner or later. For iterated games, the best strategy is tit for tat, where you treat each other like brothers until they mess up and then you hit them on the head and return to treating them well. Strictly, that probably should have been OP's choice, but I understand the emotion of his choice. An unhappy customer will tell 10 to 20 people about their bad experience. I was in a disc golf park the other day and a disc vendor was set up selling discs to people. He was also telling everyone how a Jeep dealership changed his oil, inspected his engine, passed it, and then the engine blew up 20 miles down the road. The dealership wants the owner to pay for the engine. Now that dude is sitting out there ranting about it to anyone who will listen. Easily 30 plus people for each day he's out there. Poor guy. What kind of Jeep did he have? It may seem like a small thing, but in reality, they made 4 mistakes, breaking the TV in the first place. Initially denying the claim. Not addressing the claim after escalation. Being rude about it along the way. I've grown to expect first-line responders at all kinds of businesses to sometimes mess up, and I tend to be patient with them. But when their boss/manager get involved, I no longer give them the benefit of low expectations. I did the same thing on a much smaller scale. Company U would end up destroying a quarter of the things I order personally that happened to ship via them, including crushing a crush-proof box. I had decent enough customer service to fix it, but when I took over the shipping at my job, we started shipping via Company F. I got denied a claim years ago for failure to properly pack box. They sent the product back to me and lo and behold there were tire treads on the box. I asked them how they properly pack a cardboard box to withstand a semi. I got a check about a week later. This is so pro. You sound like you were very cool, even objective. You just decided that there was a far better company to use, and spread the news. Almost flawless. OP replied, I tried to be very fair with them. The TV was about 3 years old and I purchased it for $1,500 new. Even scanned in the receipt. I didn't think they would deny a $600 claim when I couldn't even get an equivalent new one for less than $1,000. It's not even revenge, it's good business. Can't handle a $600 TV, why would I trust you with $20,000 worth of my customers' stuff? Good job, OP. Reminds me of my old district manager at a sporting goods store. Out district was 14 stores. He was dead set on being as local as possible and paid more to keep the little guy going. One vendor supplied a ton of stuff to us: breakroom supplies, paper, pens, rubber mats, etc. He was 1.75 to 2 more than Quill/Staples, but was local and on his game. We were also his best account and were giving him business. We could have farmed out to big box for savings. It was good for them as several other businesses switched and manufacturing plants/machine shops were closing. Well, we had an issue where his guys dropped off an incomplete order and he never fixed it. 3 boxes of coffee and some other supplies were never dropped off, but we received a bill. The receptionist at his place, his sister-in-law, was rude and accused our staff of stealing to get free merchandise. A few days later, the DM is passing through and we mention the problem. He pulls out his cell and calls and gets a similar nasty response from the receptionist. He is miffed and gives the owner a call directly. As soon as they started talking about the missing stuff, the owner gets hostile and was yelling over the phone. The DM was trying to explain our side when his is interrupted with a "you know what, cocksucker, you get what you get and I ain't giving you nothing more." A yelling match ensued and the DM hung up. He cancelled our district contract and had us hooked up with Staples the next day. I asked him about it a few months later, and the guy evidently begged non-stop to get out business. His business had fallen apart and our contract was 40% of his base. The guy even came by his house and tried to talk him back in and offered to refund the order that was disputed. He had to shut down a few years back and ended up unsuccessfully running for a trustee position in our city. Holy shit, I can't believe people can be so dense. Yelling and calling a customer names who's 40% of your business for an insignificant sum and then expecting not to lose that customer.